Welcome to another episode of Are You Aware, the show that covers anything and everything on campus. I'm your host, Tony Karen. Today we're focusing on the Young and Gould section of campus. While under construction for 2.5 years and a budget of $112 million, the Ryerson Student Learning Center is opening in January 2015. Our first guest is Sarah Duffin. She is one of a selected few architecture students that was offered a private tour of the soon-to-be Student Learning Center. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
You're welcome.
So what was it like to be one of the first few students to be able to tour the soon-to-be center?
It was really, really neat. I was really glad that I was picked. Only a couple of us in the class got to go, and it was a great experience. It was really neat to see the inner workings of it from seeing it from the outside for so long, and everyone's so curious what it'll look like. So having the sort of behind the scenes look was really neat. Yeah, really interesting.
And how were you chosen?
Well, my prof told us about the opportunity to go. She had met with the foreman on site and said he was only going to take 30 of us. So it was basically just whoever shows up to class the earliest that day and signs up gets to go. So I showed up 2 hours early because I was pretty determined to go. And yeah, we just signed up and it was the first 30, so was very lucky.
Great. So then what were your thoughts before actually going to see it?
Well, before going in, I have to admit I wasn't a big fan. I thought from the outside it was just this very glitzy, glassy, flashy looking thing, and having it sort of positioned on Yonge Street with everything else, shopping, tourist stuff, it didn't seem like it was part of the campus. It seemed very public, very welcoming of, oh, everyone come inside, what's it going to be like, a new store? No one really knew. So I was really curious as to why they sort of built it where they did and built it looking how they did, because I thought, well, everyone's going to just want to wander right in, and it's just for students. It looks like walking down Yonge, anyone can go in. So before going in, I kind of thought, that's a bit odd. And also, all of the glass, from an architecture point of view, it's very hard to heat a building that's all glass. And I first thought, wow, that's going to be a really expensive building to run. It's going to be expensive to build, it's going to be expensive to heat, it's going to be expensive to cool, and I just thought, well, they've really taken on a big project.
Since you mentioned it doesn't look like it's a part of just Ryerson, is there anything that you would change then?
I feel that the main entrance could sort of be built up on Gould Street, not really Yonge Street. I know they don't really have much signage up yet. Maybe they could have put something that says Ryerson actually on it. Right now it just sort of looks like this ambiguous glass glitzy thing. So they could have had some Ryerson signage and just sort of had the main entrance located on our side of Gould Street, not right at Yonge. That might have helped.
So you weren't a big fan of it before, then what were your thoughts after getting this tour?
Well, going through it, it actually changed my opinion a lot. It is a really, really interesting building. The inside, it's programmed really well. So every single floor is different colors. There's color coding, which is really fun. And there's so many study rooms. There's open lounge areas. There's different rooms you can book to practice presentations. There's glass study rooms that are private. There's open study rooms that you're allowed to talk in. So the actual programming of it is really good. It's all stuff that we're lacking on campus, you know, just a lounge to hang out with a group of 5 to study, things like that. So the programming, there's also going to be like a cute little stationery store inside. So like things like that are really neat. There's a lounge that's the whole floor is a ramp, and it's just filled with beanbag chairs. So it'll be really fun. It'll be a really good hangout place. So I definitely changed my mind about it. I do really like the inner workings and how it's going to be used. And even for the glass, it does make it interesting to see the views and everything like that. Although it will be not as practical as a building, it will be interesting to have the views.
So you mentioned the bean bags. Are there any other parts of the building that you found to be really interesting?
Well, there's the main floors are all pretty just open, but then there's all like these different hallways, and they're all painted white. But when you look down the hall, it's all colored glass. So in this one part, it's just white everywhere, and then this red glass that just jumped out. And the red glass are all individual study rooms. And you go around the corner and you see little windows, you see people working. It's just laid out really, really well, and it's really neat. Like you're in like you could say to your friends, oh, we're on the red floor, we're going to be studying there, we're on the green floor. Like, it's just fun having the colors all like that, and having little glass rooms, it's definitely really nice to study in that. And another thing was all of the desks, they have the wiring going through all the desks, so no matter where you're sitting, you'll have an outlet for your laptop. So everything's thought through really well, how students study.
So then you mentioned before how the glass is hard to heat. From an architecture student's perspective, what are other strengths and weaknesses of the building?
Well, it definitely is typical of Toronto. You know, you have to have that next big glass glitzy building. That's like the whole condo boom. So, I mean, it's not really my styles, but who am I to say Toronto people really like that look, and it definitely, you have to battle with that. Like Aura, for example, the giant condos that went up at Yonge and College, it has to sort of compete with that type of architecture. So there's benefits to the glass because it stands out, it makes a street presence. You know it's there, and now you know Ryerson's there, and it's good for the school's image. The interior, when you're studying, the views are amazing. You can see all of Yonge Street. You're really high up. You're looking down at the city. It's really neat. Like, appreciating Toronto, when you're a student studying away, you don't get to go out and do all the events and shopping that you'd like because you're so busy. So being up there, being connected to Yonge Street, seeing all of downtown, that's definitely an advantage. Only disadvantage would be just heat and cool air escaping. It's going to be very hard to maintain. It's going to be hard to clean. It's a lot of cleaning to have all the glass. It's very hard to repair if there's any sealant cracks, anything like that. They're very extreme repairs. Going all that way up is very expensive, so things like that. But it has a good image. It looks good.
Then what would you do differently if you were able to have an input?
I wouldn't have all that glass for sure. I definitely think you could have a main glass area maybe at the front. There's also, they're trying to incorporate green roofs. I know throughout Ryerson there's a program called Carrot City, and they grow their own food on the top of the engineering building. They have a green roof. Along Gold Street they have gardens. So at the Student Learning Center there's a really small green roof. It's not really looking that big right now, but I think you could have made that into Carrot City and sort of, I would have put that more in.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining
Welcome.
us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Not a problem. Stay tuned for after the break. We are going to be talking to everyone, all students, about the paving on Gold Street, so be sure not to miss it.